In weighing the range of U.S. interests in Black Africa, basic recommendations arranged without intent to imply priority are: 1. Specific steps taken with the help of appropriate government agencies to inhibit coordinated activity of the Black movement in the United States. Operations should be launched by the CIA to generate mistrust and hostility in America and the world. Opinion-age joint activity of the two forces, and to cause division among Black African radical national groups and their leaders. 3. U.S. embassies to Black African countries, especially interested in Southern Africa, must be highly circumspect in view of the activity of certain political circles and influential individuals opposing the objectives and methods of U.S. policy towards South Africa. It must be kept in mind that the failure of U.S. strategy in South Africa would adversely affect American standing throughout the world. In addition, this would mean a significant diminution
of U.S. influence in Africa. Someone wants to get additional DIN, UN, UTION.
Sounds like a decrease of some sort.
diminution.
Diminution of U.S. influence. Are you starting again? DIN, UN, UTION.
Of U.S. influence in Africa and the emergence of new difficulties in our internal situation due to worsening economic prospects. 4. The FBI should mount surveillance operations against Black African representatives and collect sensitive information on those, especially at the UN, who oppose U.S. policy towards South Africa. The information should include facts on their links with the leaders of the Black movement in the United States, thus making possible at least partial neutralization of the adverse effects of their activity.
So you have the UN level.
Yeah, on every level.
I mean, this is some of the stuff that when my mother was involved back in the universities, this should be proof positive to us that they didn't trade us, they didn't trade any of those groups that you think are about getting upset.
Any of those governments
Any
that
of
you
those
think,
governments as well.
any NGOs, any whatever.
You don't get it. This stuff, people are on different levels on this stuff. We don't come together as a people together just to love each other to begin with. This is where it's not about going up and do some stuff. You need to go up. You need the first 5 letters of that. DIN-UN.
Yeah, so it's been nothing in there.
Nothing in it? DIN. The range of policy options. The concern for the future security of the United States makes necessary the range of options. A range without intent to imply priority. They are: 1. To enlarge programs within the framework of the present budget for the improvement of the social and economic welfare of American Blacks in order to ensure continuing development of the Black movement. B. To elaborate and bring into effect a special program designed to perpetuate division in the Black movement, to neutralize the most active groups of leftist radical organizations representing different social strata of the Black community.
Sorry, just to, I found the word here. What it is, it's a misprint again. It should be diminution. Diminution, a reduction in the size, extent, or importance of something.
Spell it again. Do what?
It's D-I-M.
Or D-I-M-U-N.
U-T-I-O.
D-I-M-U-N.
1 M?
Yeah.
D-I-M. D-I-M-U-N. D-I-M-U-N-U-T-I-O. Diminution.
Diminution.
Crazy, eh? And that's the thing with words.
A reduction in size, extent, or importance of something.
Thanks, Mocha.
Diminution
All right. B, to elaborate and bring into effect a special program designed to perpetuate division in the Black movement, to neutralize the most effective groups of the leftist radical organizations representing different social strata of the Black community, to encourage divisions in Black circles. C, to preserve the present climate, which inhibits the emergence from within the Black leadership of a personality capable of exerting nationwide appeal. D, to work out and realize preventative operations in order to impede durable ties between U.S. Black organizations and radical groups in African states. E, to support actions designed to sharpen social stratification in the Black community, which would lead to widening and perpetuation of the gap between successful educated Blacks and the poor, giving rise to growing antagonism between different Black groups and weakening of the movement as a whole. And then in brackets it says crack and drugs. Crack and drugs. To facilitate the greatest possible.
Remember we said that this was my mom putting this in there.
Yeah.
This is back in the 70s. So what she saw as what they were doing, putting crack and drugs. That's what she, so you can see in that, and that was, and you know, that was part of their plan. We introduce crack into the neighborhood, take us out.
To facilitate the greatest possible expansion of Black businesses by granting government contracts and loans on favorable terms to Black businessmen. To take every possible means through AFL-CIO leaders to counteract the increasing influence of Black labor organizations, which function in all major unions, in particular the National Coalition of Black Trade Unionists and its leadership, including the creation of real preconditions for adverse and hostile reaction among white trade unionists to demands for improvement of social and economic welfare of the Blacks.
So I just wanted to, so before you guys get into me and Quadro, we're talking about the fact that we belong to locals. And he's going through something right now with his local, and I went through something with mine, where they put forth these groups that are supposed to help the Blacks get forward, supposedly, whatever. And then what's happening is you're fighting with your European or white colleagues because they've set up this sort of animus and this animosity, and basically what they're doing is they're creating division.
Mm-hmm.
So that within the workplace now you've got your European brother who's pissed off at you because he's seeing that they're trying to help you get ahead into a position of power, which is what you should be doing, right? But really, it's really set to then, as I said, keep this conflict going.
H, to support the nomination at federal and local levels of local Black public figures of loyal Black public figures to elective offices, government agencies, and
sorry, just to be missed again. It says to support the nomination of federal and local levels of loyal Black public figures to elective offices to government agencies and the court. This would promote the achievement of a twofold purpose. First, it would be easier to control the activity of loyal Black representatives within existing institutions. Second, the idea of an independent Black political party now under discussion within Black leadership circles would soon lose all support.
now that's it.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So then just because people didn't write this out, this thing was directed, this was National Security Council memorandum, secret, March 17th, 1978, presidential review. And then this was also CC, the Secretary of Treasury, the Secretary of Commerce, the Attorney General, and the Chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff. So if you don't think they know.
And then again, going back to this last part here, the idea of an independent Black political party now under discussion circles will soon to lose all support due to the public black figures that they have in the elective office. All right, so that's the same thing with what they did with bringing the Afrocentric school, right? Had their black public figures support that, so that all the independent, quote unquote, Afrocentric schools be dissolved, which all of them now are dissolved and been dissolved, because everybody's going to the free school that, you know, their black leader, whoever's approved for them to know who they are, opposed to the independent schools that were already here, established buildings, whether it was somebody's house, whether they were renting some spot or whatever, and then all that stuff is gone now because of these same insurgents who are really against their own, right? And that was also part of the last night that the brothers weren't getting, that they keep looking at the European did something to them. Like, yes, we know European did something, but European is a minority. There's no way European should be doing to any Asiatic what they're doing, because they're the minority. They don't have the numbers to do what, the same thing that you're talking about. They don't have the numbers, and look what they're ruling, look how they're ruling the world. How are they doing that? By having ones of our own work with them to keep them in power, because they think they're getting a little something from what this European's doing or whatever, when they're giving up their whole birthright for this European to have their birthright. And then they're taking checks and pennies and blankets and beads and all this stuff from some Europeans, taking Bibles and guns or whatever like that, which is not going to belong to them anyways.
But a lot of those people, they don't even know. They're deceived.
That's why Noble Jolly brought us back to law, because you have there's a law maxim that says ignorance of the law is no excuse. So you can't use they don't know as to why they don't know. They better know.
They don't know because it's being covered up. It's being hidden from them. Because I was looking at it, like all of those governments.
Yeah, just put it back up again. Yeah.
Took an oath to function in a government position, a public position. Their citizenship has been relinquished to the United Nations. So they don't even know that. They don't even know that they're not even citizens of the so-called Canada. Mm-hmm. Like their citizenship is to the United Nations. Right. That's in law. Yep. Yeah, so all the police officers are foreign agents. The judges, because I have a friend that he's so-called judge in Ontario, but he doesn't even know that his citizenship is not even here. Yeah.
So anyways, this was the other thing while Cujo was off. My mother also had gotten into this. This is a report that she got from a guy who's in the army. You see some of the stuff is blacked out, right? So redacted, obviously. So this is an Asian report on obviously a Moor who they were looking to get into some kind of position of power. The interview concerning James Squirrel Garnet, who had known subject, whatever, and they all blacked out. First met subject, it said, and then it sort of blacked out. Source had contact with him. Then it said subject had played both football and baseball at Garfield High School and been a very good competitor in football. He played quarterback and did a good job of leading the team. After graduating from Garfield High School, he attended Sherman Community College. He seemed to be from a good family and was a good student. Though he never had any problem with associating with team members, he seemed to be a loner and an individual thinker. He gave the impression of not communicating his true thoughts and seemed to have some thoughts of deep annoyance. Source could not illustrate this aspect of his character by any specific actions or comments of subject, but felt that this problem of subjects for one of the feeling of racial prejudice leading to his involvement in militant racial groups, which were non-existent at the time. Source knew him. At one time, he quit the baseball team when he felt that certain discipline for the team was a matter of prejudice. He also had threatened to quit when another individual was chosen over him for the reception of an athletic award. If he was determined, if he was.
I think you have to take off those ones.
I
think those ones have to come off.
However, if he did not feel personally committed to the activity, source would have reservations about his performance. Subject always conducted himself in a well-behaved manner and never required any disciplinary action by the school. Source had no reason to question his integrity, discretion, or moral standards. Subject was not known to have ever been arrested, to drink excessively, or to use drugs. Subject was not known to have ever belonged to any racial or radical political organizations. Subject was not known to advocate or support any groups or ideologies who go over inimical to the best interests of the United States. He was not known to have ever been involved in any demonstrations by such radical groups. Okay, I'm just gonna, the end of it here is very important. Because of the above expressed uncertainty about his character and commitments and the possibility that those traits might become manifested in militant political activity, source would question his loyalty. And then it blacked out. Something felt that he could not recommend that James Cordell, guard, in favor considered her assignment to a position of trust and responsibility with the United States Army because of sources' feelings of his deep mental reservation and the possible expressed attitude of racial discrimination. And this is around my mother's time in 1968 or 1970. And this is just to prove to you that if you're in any of these places, they are creating files on all of us.
Of course. Correct.
So just to be clear about this, as these guys are smiling at you, this stuff, all of this data information is always being collected. So that was just an example, I guess. And she has more information. I'm going to start digging into that. She also had something that this is one of the things I remember from about 20 years ago. She got a report from a think tank that basically outlined how they had killed Martin Luther King and that it was an inside job and blah, blah, blah. At the time, we now know that that stuff is all being sort of proven, but I definitely want to get that kind of stuff because the other thing that they're doing is these people are always meeting and they're always thinking and they're always working. So, you know, we talk about certain things, but we have to get ourselves correct before we get out there. Islam.
Islam. How many questions or comments?
Yeah.
Photocopy. Yeah, I don't know if it's there. It might be longer.
Oh, the same. Oh, yeah. I was talking about earlier. About the prayer?
Oh yeah. You could reinstitute that.
Did I say mother?
No, I just sent it. So I'll talk to you after. Yeah.
While we're all waiting, just giving you the heads up on Ottawa. There did seem to be certain administrative or certain issues that we were having getting a place from certain individuals down there. But one of the things Kudo and I have decided that it's absolutely integral that we keep hitting Ottawa. So we're going to make it happen. As I said, it should either be the 22nd or the 29th. If we have our way about it, hopefully we're going to push it to the 29th. I don't know if anyone has any feelings on anything, but hoping to see most of us there. And if that's the case, you guys should start looking at figuring it out. We're looking to make it a day trip when we head out of here. You know, you guys can do your thing, but probably have the lecture at 2 o'clock. One of the things I think we should start implementing is taking a picture at on the hill at the Parliament building like we did that year.
Mm-hmm.
And we should make that a yearly thing. So what we're looking to do is head out at about 7 in the morning, maybe get there at about 11, have a couple hours, have a picture at 1, and then go to the lecture from 2 to 6, and then we're planning to come back that night. You guys are welcome to do whatever. So, anyways, we're not exactly sure whether it's the 22nd or the 29th.
Yeah, February.
We've been waiting for him to get a date. The issue was that the place that he had, the last time we did it, I think was, he got the place at 5 at night. So the lecture goes to like 9, and we're just not having that. We don't want to have that kind of situation. We ended up coming back because then once you start getting too late, then you're going to want to stay over. that sort of drags things on, so,
So when will we know the date?
Sometime
hopefully
this
a
week,
couple of
yeah,
days.
couple days.
Do you have any preference on anything like that? Okay, just because at this point it's open, but, I mean, I don't know where everyone stands. I initially wanted to have it on the 29th, then look at the 22nd, that's why I'm just giving you, so if you guys are looking at this is still sort of in the air, but we're really, this needs to sort of happen from the perspective that if they're having this thing called Black History Month, then we should definitely be there in the nation's capital
Countering
countering that kind of stuff.
Is it Oshawa?
Ottawa.
We need to know because we're thinking as a few of us are doing it overnight, you know what I mean? So we're gonna have to get some place to stay and all that. So
Right.
we need to know that.
Yes.
So I'll just give you guys a heads up, this is how it went, just so we can be on it, that, we're waiting on a spot, it didn't seem to be happening. One of my things is I was looking to try and do some Airbnb thing, even if I could get a house, and I just have the lecture there. We do have one other option, that we sort of just need to hammer out, that should be done in the next 2 days. So that's where our issue is, that place was supposed to be in a school, in a converted school, and they had a music room there. So we're thinking of trying to just keep that going, but we don't even know what date that was that he was prospectively getting. This is a Fonda, as we know, right? So, in the next 24 to 48 hours, we can give you an idea of that.
That's the school we're waiting to.
No, I think it's a different one.
That's because that school is the one that we can get for 5 in the evening, but as I said, the problem, that's part of our problem too, Morris, you know, but we sort of look to somewhat to, you know, what we were talking about earlier, you know, with timing. Start off the lecture at 4:30 and people are rolling in at 6. You know what I mean? And then people want to start being active, you know, we've got a certain timeline. Yeah, but then, you know, when a person comes in at 1, he wants to get, 3 hours in, he wants to get his full, so he's into sitting around for another 2 hours. When the guys who've been there since 3, they're looking to go home, kind of thing, when it's 7 o'clock. So this is where we're at. And we know that it's probably better to start it off in the day. You know, we can all get home. And then just to give you guys a heads up too, Montreal on the 21st, and we're definitely looking to sort of make that an overnighter, 1 if not 2. And that I think is, that should be good. In March. That's in March, and that's on the, that should be probably, I don't know if when the vernal equinox is, but that should be right around that date. It's not the, I don't know, someone could Google when the vernal equinox is. I can Google it.
So before we close out, chapter 33, holy instructions from the prophet, gratitude. As the branches of a tree return their sap to the root, from whence it arose, as a river poureth its streams to the sea, whence the spring was supplied, so the heart of a grateful man delighteth in returning a benefit received. He acknowledgeth his obligation with cheerfulness. He looketh on his benefactor with love and esteem. It be not in his power, he nourisheth the memory of it in his breast with kindness. He forgetteth it not all the days of his life. The heart of the grateful man is like the clouds of heaven, which drops upon the earth, fruits, herbage, and flowers. But the heart of the ungrateful is like a desert of sand, which swalloweth the greediness and showers that fall, and burieth them in its bosom, and produceth nothing. Envy not thy benefactor, neither strive to conceal the benefit he hath conferred. For though to oblige is better than to be obliged, though the act of generosity commandeth admiration, yet the humility toucheth the heart and is amiable on the sight both of Allah and man. But receive not a favor from the hand of the proud. To the selfish and avaricious have no obligation. The vanity of pride shall expose these shame. The greediness of avarice shall never be satisfied. Islam. Always be grateful. Any thoughts? Any thoughts on that?
Three different examples that they use to describe the gratefulness that a man feels, person feels in their heart. As the branches of the tree return their sap to the root from whence it arose. And very poetic. The river poureth its streams to the sea, whence the spring was supplied. So the heart of a grateful man delighted in returning a benefit.
What chapter was it?
33.
Anyone see anything?
Huh?
Anyone see anything?
Just Yasun did the first verse.
Sorry.
Is it 33?
Yeah.
Gratitude.
Also to envy not thy benefactor, neither strive to conceal the benefit he hath conferred. That's like the people who get this information and then they go out and tell people $5 grand for a package of this information. The benefit was conferred on them, and they turn around, they're selling it.
So one of the things that I picked up in here in this section for me under these whole instructions, this seemed to be connected with my study, with also connected with whole instructions for thy children. Because when you go into whole instructions of thy children, it breaks down certain, and this is connected with the we call it again the zodiac. So in the whole instructions for thy children, it says prepare your children well a lot for their inclinations. And then it goes on to sort of break down what each one of the gates, each one of the months are. So you have teach him obedience and he shall whatever. And then it says teach him gratitude. So this one is the whole instruction from the prophet on gratitude. So gratitude is what? So obedience would be Aries, gratitude would be correct?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Oh no, hold on, no, so sorry. There would be gratitude would be so Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. So gratitude is Gemini. So to me,
Would be the third, fourth one, no?
yeah, it would be the third one, right? So to me, it's talking about Gemini. That's because they also have under the whole instructions, it also has justice, and then it has certain other ones. So to me, I think that these are certain of the things that the prophet selected, and that these certain gates were very important. So with the gratitude, I connected that very much so with, because there's other passages in here where he pulls out and identifies other gates or other signs that I think are very important, or at least the essences of those gates are very important for us to sort of emulate. So gratitude being one of them. So that's at least off the top. And then to me, one of the things that I see here, and if to return, did you say if to return it, do not miss power? Nourish the memory of it and express with kindness and forget it not all the days of his life. I found that to be very, very important. That sometimes we cannot, so for example, what the prophet was, we can't directly give him back anything. We have to nourish that energy in our hearts and make sure that we forget it not all the days of our life. Right? And then I think it goes on to talk about what our character should be in terms of what we give. We have some Moors in here who come and they bring their teas and their stuff like that. That is the rain, that is the water, that's the fruit and the herbage that is brought. That is what we need to emulate. And You know, but then it goes on to show you the other side. The heart of the ungrateful was like a desert of sand, swallowed up everything, ingredients and showers. And then we talk about the Moor that was in here was charging people $5,000 for stuff, right? That stuff that was free. It's like taking rainwater and then charging someone $1 million for it, right? And then also the last one, 5, and not that benefactor, these are 5 to consider benefits. So I think those are certain things, those are certain spells that we have to, or certain things that we have to announce out of ourselves that will help to trigger things. We have to continue to thank the prophet every day. We have to continue to thank Mother every day. We have to continue to thank, all of, Allah, all of that kind of stuff. So, anyways, this one was a big one. This one.
Any other thoughts?
Well, the last one for me is this. For those to oblige is better than to be obliged. For the act of generosity commanded by Moorish to get the community touch with his heart. He's aimed on the sight of both Allah and man. So to me, it is better to always be trying to help. Though, when you receive help, you should be grateful for it. But that, we should always be looking to see what we can do to better everyone else.
That's something you and me talk about too. Always talk about it like, how many times people just keep saying thank you, thank you, thank you. How many times you say you're welcome, you're welcome? That means you only get, you don't give nothing. All you do is thank you. Never hear much of you're welcome.
For real.
And one thing Nora touches on, we can end on this note, and this is one of the stuff I've talked to people about this. Our elders, even for whatever ignorance they've gone through, we have to continue to, my mom had a sword. Yeah, continue to bring them up, but also continue to listen to them. They got such gems.
Yeah.
I always said this stuff. My mom was 30 years ago with this stuff, hidden somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Who knows what our moms have in their stuff? No, really, this is, we laugh at this, but a lot of times what happens, and you see this in our culture, we take our old, we put them in these homes. You know what I mean? As if they're somewhere to be shelled off until they pass. They've got such nuggets to give us. And that was one of the things, you soon can speak to this. I sit there and I listen to his mom with such rapt attention as she tells me about her stories. And in fact, one of the things I want to do is start to take those things as memories and start to, because those are our living. That's the oral
That's the
stuff.
oral stuff.
The oral stuff that you can't, that cannot be, that's priceless.
Yeah. Transfer through the DNA. Yeah, for real. For real. Islam, Morris.
Oh, and this last announcement that we will also be, when Rennie gets it on, we'll be heading out east to the Hammer, right? West. I'm getting excited for
Omar was gonna take the long one.
It's a circle, my brother. It's a circle.
And you're the 7 in it, brother. You're the 7 in it.
So yeah, we'll be heading out to the Hammer sometime very, very soon. Because that's the work that we have to do too. Get out there.
Islam, Morris. Islam to all the Moors in the chat. Let's just close out. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth. Peace.
Freedom.
And justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. My holy prophet. Noble Juali. Islam.
One last announcement, sorry again, that we will be having town hall very, very soon. We'll probably be able to give you a date as of next week, Sunday. And brother, Queens Town Hall is one of those places too where, where they're going to well, here, what happens is that is sort of like that would be like the process whereby we, the people, come sit down and talk about just exactly what you've been saying. Strategy, and what the direction, and then what would happen is we would sort of implement our movement from there, like you're talking about, like, hey, let's do this, and then hopefully what would happen is we would then move forward with that. And that's what we've been talking about. We've been having town halls a lot where we have all these ideas, right? 20 people show up, and then next week 5 people are there. And then the week after 7 people are there. So that's where we've been telling you about the fact that we've had certain issues where people have great ideas, but then if they're not sticking it through, it becomes an issue. Right? So just to show you what that we'd love to happen there.
Because I don't have it on. Islam was.